Ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs, welcome to the Beacon TVL show, your beacon in the world of decentralized finance. I'm your host, Chris, the DeFi professor. We've got a great show lined up for you as we talk about the news of the week for all of you, our dear users in the world of on-chain and blockchain investing. All right, we got a lot to talk about. Let's bring on one of my favorite co-hosts to have here. Just want to say hello to our friend Robert. How are you, Robert? How's the weather out there?
It's good, man. Oh, it's pretty temperate as always.
Define temperate. What is that? What is that temperature in Celsius?
It's like in Fahrenheit. What is it like? Between 65 and 77 degrees.
Well, all right then. That's a good time to be there in January. That's for sure. It was warm here. It is going to be bitterly cold tomorrow. We're going to have below zero for the majority of like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And my thoughts and prayers go out to everybody out in the Alabama, Georgia, and Carolinas coming up, because the storm that's rolling just south of here is actually going to be terrible for you guys. Like crippling ice, 10 plus inches of snow. They're calling it like some crazy snow phenomenon event. So just want to make sure that if you're out there, take all the precautions now. Get some water. If you've got a generator, get it going. Make sure it works. Be careful out there, because Mother Nature is not one to F with, if I may say so myself. Been through many a snowstorm, been through many a hurricane, been through many an earthquake. So natural disasters spare nobody. But yeah, man, what an interesting week it's been. We've got all kinds of stuff going on. Macro, geopolitical. Before we get to the markets, I feel like we got to start with this, because this just gets me to my soul. And I should probably make this bigger so it's easier to see. And it's specifically this clip. And there's a lot of world leaders out in Switzerland right now in Davos for the World Economic Forum. So I don't know if you've seen this at all, Robert. In fact, it just came out this morning. So I want to talk about this specific video, and I don't know if people will be able to hear the. You know what? They won't be able to hear the audio, but that's okay. It's not really important that we hear the audio. It's really just more of what was said here, and I'm going to shout out Gareth Jenkinson here. Shout out to you, sir. I should probably follow him as a thank you for featuring him out here on the show. CEO Brian Armstrong of Coinbase is out there as well. And why you got to bring this man on stage is really just for the highlights, because French, I think, I'm not sure exactly what his position is. He might be the French economic minister. Anyway, Francois Villeroy de Gallo says he trusts more independent central banks with a democratic mandate than private issuers of Bitcoin with regards to digital assets. And Armstrong, give him his flowers. He just cooked this dude, to quote my kids. Mm-hmm. This dude got cooked. And he said, Bitcoin is a decentralized protocol. There's actually no issuer of it. So in the sense that central banks have independence, Bitcoin is even more independent. There is no country or company or individual who controls it in the world. Facts. 100% facts. And there is an audible ooh when after he was done talking about this. So man, it just tells me two things. Number one, the people at the top have no idea how any of this works. It's a really, frankly, a very embarrassing statement that the French national put out there. So this kind of takes the mask off on really how the EU is viewing all of this, which is clearly backwards. So Robert, I wanted to start with this. What are your thoughts on Brian Armstrong just cooking this panel? Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, that was a surprising statement. Even for like a bureaucrat like that.
Yeah.
It's 2026 now. So, I mean, I thought that pretty much all of them were up to speed at this point on the basics, but apparently not.
Yeah, and the reason we even got this conversation was because they were talking about, you know, money printers. Like, who's going to control the Bitcoin money printer, and that's what led to this exchange. Um, that too, about, you know, the euro being, are they afraid of Bitcoin as as an economic standard? Frankly, that's
Mhm.
just kind of not what Bitcoin's role is, right? Bitcoin's a store of
Yeah.
value. It's not meant to be like some. All right, that's going to lead to a huge conversation because, like, well, why do you want to support BTC and all this? I'm like, all right, let's pump the brakes before I step into that whole huge lake of possibilities. Um, to those watching, Bitcoin is the one asset that we would love to see DeFi native, but frankly, it probably never. And at this point, unless something crazy happens innovation wise, it probably shouldn't be a DeFi asset. Um, it could be a perp, much like gold and silver and precious metals have equities, have perps, have futures, commodities in DeFi. Spot market, exposure itself to Bitcoin. I don't know, man. A lot of experiments have gone on in the past 5 years, and some of them have done all right. But there's just a lot of centralized independence on some of that stuff. So I know that's a weird statement for me to say. I'm feeling it too. But yeah, that's you would think that would have done something for the price of Bitcoin so far, Robert, but we'd be wrong if we talk about it in that standpoint. So, what I will
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and pull up CoinMarketCap. Just as a heads up, I am an approved CoinMarketCap content creator. I will be putting my thoughts on some of this stuff up on CoinMarketCap today. So if you want to follow me there, you truly can do so. I want to say it's just my username is. Well, you'll just see me there as the DeFi professor. Anyway, Bitcoin is starting to recover over the last hour. Maybe this is network effect of everything, because my timeline right now is flooded with this specific clip. So we're seeing a little bit of a rebound. President Trump has also mentioned that they're going to get the market structure bill through, the Clarity Act, which Coinbase pulled support for last week, which we talked about on the show. So overall, the market is marketing. Man, XRP just keeps losing resistance. They keep just losing levels here. We'll see exactly what happens, but the market is looking up right now. So let's see if we can get a little bit more vigor back in there. Looking at bubbles, the only thing, in my opinion, that's probably worth really talking about here, and there's just some movement here. Canton Network, CC. I keep talking about them, guys. Yep, institutions love them, and they're probably going to continue to power a lot of institutional moves, if not publicly, definitely in the background. So, any thoughts that you have, Robert, on the graph so far this week?
Yeah, I mean, just another obvious downturn. But yeah, Canton still strong, obviously, for good reasons. It's going to be the darling institutional blockchain, right?
Yeah.
With its privacy features as well. Not too familiar with River, though. River is... What is River again?
I'm like, not really sure. That's a great question. Do we have a little
Yeah, but
preview of what? Well, apparently it's available. Well, let's look. Wow, it's whoa. Well, what is it?
but yeah, I don't know. But overall, I'm not seeing anything down more than usual. Just looks like another down leg. Nothing extraordinary. Yeah.
Do we? Okay, so let's look at news. Nothing for River, and it's just one of those things. Like you'll see people like after the fact. Yeah, did you get River? I told you. I called River all the way back here. Those are my favorite posts. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, buddy. Yeah, I don't know anything about them, unfortunately, and maybe there's more to it. I'm hoping that there is they've pumped over 700% here.
Looks related to Tron, so might just
Oh,
be one of those.
okay.
They just some sort of partnership with Tron and we a lot of partnerships being announced on their X feed. So
Well, maybe they're we'll find out. We'll find out.
yeah.
Oftentimes these things kind of pop in, and you only hear about them once they're up in this spot. So, like we've heard about Mix and White Rock and some of these others that have been kind of moving. Shout out obviously to Midnight. If you guys saw my little before the show fit check, which I'm not doing fit checks all the time. I'm touching the wrong side of my head. My goodness. This is one of my favorite hats. It is fairly old, if I remember correctly. I think this is from Salt Lake City in 2024. Yeah. So this one's sticking with me, ladies and gents. I like this hat a lot. I like it a lot. All right, so we have a lot of stuff to talk about. So probably the biggest news, in my opinion, over the last couple of days, and there's been a lot of back and forth about this. Robert, specifically, this was 2 days ago on Monday. New York Stock Exchange, through their parent company ICE, not that ICE, the other ICE, the Intercontinental Exchange, proud to announce the development of a platform for trading and on-chain settlement for tokenized securities.
Mm-hmm.
Well. This is a big move from them. This does bring out a lot of interesting questions. The first question is really just where is it going to be? Because they didn't actually announce that part, but really the other part is the how. And and here's the Business Insider, the Business Wire press release specifically for it. It is going to be a 24/7 trading of all U.S. listed equities and ETFs. Will allow for fractional share trading, which I think is good because that's something that with I can't remember the name of it now. M1 for fractionalized ownership of stocks back like last decade. This will be interesting to see how this works out. Immediate settlement, and you can use stablecoins. That's the first part, and of course, with the partnership with Circle, that will most likely be USDC. But the data is the most important part. So, Chainlink is the partner that's bringing this on chain. 24/5, not 24/7, 24/5. So I guess they're taking Saturday and Sunday off, or maybe they'll use the beauty salon industry Sunday, Monday off. Who knows? Who knows? I'm kidding. Here are the groups that are already using it. Lighter, the perp decks there, BitMEX, who, from what I remember, created the crypto perp. Shout out to Arthur Hayes. Orderly and these other groups here. Some are prediction markets for this. So that's available across 40 chains, 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. It's just weird to say. But the platform itself from NYSE will be open 24/7. Now, a couple of things to know about this. If you want to use this platform, you absolutely will have to KYC for this. So for people who are thinking that they don't have to KYC for this, you will definitely KYC for this. Because if there's one thing the U.S. government likes to know, especially from the SEC and CFTC, they want to know exactly who's doing what at any time. But this will be a good start, right? This is a movement. We've talked about it, right? 2026 is the year of integration of DeFi or TradFi into DeFi. It's really kind of more of the other way around at this point because they're using blockchain established rails to now put this into the mainstream. Give me your thoughts, Robert. I'm very curious.
Yeah, it's kind of just an extension of the same narrative that's been kind of building up for the past couple of years. The kind of merger of digital assets with the crypto markets. Yeah, I think as you can see, they have like their own like curated set of chains there that they're supporting, and I think in the mid to long term, it's going to be just kind of like creating a moat of assets that actually how can you say it, like are vetted and regulated and will actually be accepted into these exchanges. So I think what we'll see in the future is some existing form of Wild West crypto assets that are outside that moat, and then the sanctioned ones. And I'm assuming the sanctioned ones will be getting the lion's share of liquidity there, and probably be a lot more viable and successful as investments. So that's kind of how I see it playing out.
Yeah, I agree. And remember, Chainlink is an off-chain oracle, but one thing they do have with CCIP, which is their cross-chain interoperability protocol, is the ability to provide smart contracts off the back of their data. So that's how a lot of this is going to be tokenized. A lot of this is going to be moving. But the platform itself from NYSE will probably be more responsible for the native issuance of this. A couple more points I wanted to bring up that I thought were important about this announcement. Token holders retain all traditional economic rights to these shares, which means dividends, which means governance, which is fantastic. The one thing we are missing, Robert, and this is where the tide will turn, in my opinion, is the moment we get in-kind redemption. Like if I can get my Walgreens dividends on chain, right? If my Coca-Cola shares, if I get dividends, or even Costco, for example, who have been very good about dividends, if they pay that, every quarter into an on-chain account, that's where things are going to be different, right? Because that's where, I don't even want to think about the taxes on all this, by the way, but this is where people will wake up and go, oh, crypto is not a scam, right? Because it's funny because we haven't heard the word crypto in any of this. And I think that's a really interesting tactic, right? Because the word crypto is not in any of these announcements. So is it a taboo word?
Just on chain.
On-chain, tokenized.
Mhm.
Tokenized is the word. Tokenization is the word that they're using, right?
Yeah, I just watched the little interview with David Sachs
Yeah.
on CNBC today.
Yeah, this is the AI and czar for President Trump. AI and crypto czar.
Yeah, and crypto czar. Yeah, and and at some point he just said very simply or very plainly, it's not like there's going to be, the traditional world of securities and crypto assets that will just be everything will just be digital assets.
Yeah,
and so
everything will be digital assets, and that's something we talk about, in our content all the time. Not that there's anything wrong with the word crypto. I think at this point it's a little dated, would be the word I would use. Because really there's just a few different coins that still use proof of work or cryptographic. Well, I can't even say that because ZK proofs are going to be a big thing. I just feel like that to describe this whole subsystem is now dated. So digital assets, tokenization, decentralized finance, just being on chain will be the word, the vernacular, the vocabulary that people will be using moving forward. And I think it's for the better. I think that's easier for people to understand. I think that maybe crypto just leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And frankly, they don't know anything about it, which is why we are doing this job, Robert, right, of trying to educate and bring as many people to the table as possible, knowing that, this isn't just available for everyday stock traders. This is also available to you at the lowest level as an everyday person logging in and choosing to do this. Now, you will have to KYC for this. So and what that means is you're going to have to register your information. KYC stands for Know Your Customer. So we'll see how this works out. But there's a lot of people saying that this is bearish for crypto. And I'm like, I don't think that at all. Do you think this is bearish for crypto, or do you think this is bullish for crypto, Robert?
No, I think it's bear. I mean, sorry, it's bullish. Yeah, like I said before, I think that there's going to be, a certain list of like winners, so to quote unquote, that are compliant, and so maybe that's a few hundred assets, maybe that's a few thousand assets from the traditional crypto space. But those will be big winners. I think it's going to create a much needed separation between the millions and millions of junk tokens out there and the ones that are actually viable. So I mean, in that sense, it's extremely bullish, because then if you're on the right side of this bet, there's going to be quite a bit of liquidity flowing to all those assets that get accepted.
And I think that's another way to look at it too, right? This is going to be a better way for good projects, hopefully with the right connections, to be listed in better markets, right? To have better markets available to investors. They don't have to try and elbow their way past what's the current big meme coin that's out there, especially if you're a coin that has good utility, real revenue. Going after markets like these to have your token listed, I think, will be probably the new norm of the rest of this year. And we'll see kind of how the market responds to this. But guys, we're in a world where there's going to be better access for all. That's the way to look at it, right? Better access for everybody, which I think overall net positive for the industry.
Yeah, because we're assuming that there's also no accreditation required here. Just KYC, right? Unless there will be maybe some form of it.
We'll see. There's more. There's layers to this, as they say.
That's going to be a big question mark. I would say for sure.
Robert, I want to know, what are your thoughts about Mr. Beast?
Mr. Beast?
Yeah.
And Tom Lee's investment in them?
Look at you trying to segue me in here. I just want to know what you think about Mr. Beast before we talk about Tom Lee.
I'm only vaguely familiar, and I don't think I can give enough of an opinion on it. But
well, that shows you're boomer. No, I'm kidding. What's funny is I talked to my wife about this last night. She's like, "Who's Mr. Beast?" And I'm like, "Oh." I was like,
"Are we supposed to know?"
Well, my kids were like excited, like, "Oh." There's a lot of things that I was talking to my kids about. Anyway, no, they know Mr. Beast very well. So Mr. Beast is the largest content creator in the world. He has by far the most YouTube subscribers. His content gets the most views out of everything in the world. He has expanded into a bunch of different industries. He has food. There are ghost kitchens across the country, and brick and mortar restaurants. I know that the American Mall in New Jersey has a Mr. Beast restaurant. There's Beast Industries. They also have Feastables, is a brand from Mr. Beast. And then of course he has all the content, like, well, now he's doing, I guess, Beast games, insane competitions, extreme survival. I don't know how he does it. Well, he has a team, of course, and he's providing a lot of jobs to and just economic viability to the South Carolina area where they're based. But two things I wanted to talk about here, because they kind of tie hand in hand, and I don't think they've announced it here. Yeah, they didn't announce it. Well, he also has a theme park in Saudi Arabia, and they haven't announced it here. But the news, not to bury the lead, is that Tom Lee, and shout out to Ari Parker, by the way. For those who are not aware, if you're looking for another way to earn money in this industry, for the last year and a half, even 2 years, video clippers are starting to get their comeuppance. And if you know how to clip, you can make some money in this economy, because shows like ours. I'm like, go watch my show. I'm not watching an hour of that. For some people. I mean, I'll watch it, sure. But clippers help bring the best of the best. And AI stuff is cool, like Opus and, some of these others. And some of the platforms even have their own clips, like Riverside, StreamYard, and whatnot. But clippers actually get the context right. Whereas stuff like Opus and stuff will like clip something and it's kind of missing the part that you really wanted. But, then you have to go back and clip it yourself. But clippers are going to be the main thing here. What I wanted to bring up specifically is this slide. So, Bitmine Immersion, Tom Lee, they want to own 5% of the global ETH supply. They are what we call an Ethereum DATCO, a digital asset treasury company, which we've talked about multiple times on this show, Robert. They have pumped $200 million into Beast Industries, which is that company we just talked about. they're looking what I've heard was a 10x ROI on this, but that's like $2 billion that they're looking to make off this is that they really want. But one thing that I need to find the announcement for, I can't quite find it. So Mr. Beast announced Beast Financial, which will be a financial literacy and economy type of initiative. This was back in December. Very fun timing on this because financial literacy, digital assets, want to be able to figure out a way to get Ethereum into every household under the age of 40 in this world. Tom Lee is on this. He's on it. That's a very, very smart move by partnering and putting a lot of money into Beast Industries. And thanks to this market crash, I mean, he's already able to buy even more ETH. I mean, they're close to 4% now of the global supply of ETH through Bitmine immersion. So, yeah, I mean, this is a very bold move. And yeah, what do you think, Robert?
Yeah, I mean, I heard some people say like, why isn't he just using that 200 million to buy more ETH or buy and stake more ETH? But I'm looking at Mr. Beast's content, and it's pretty crazy stuff.
Oh yeah. Well,
It's pretty absurd.
That's the asymmetric upside bet, right? You go and get the hundreds of millions, billions of views that get his content, and then using Bitmine immersion to possibly pump, Beast Financial. Hey, the system's broken. Why don't you consider looking at ETH? That's going to be the message. We're going to see a very thinly veiled message of ETH, of stablecoins. Call them digital savings accounts. Stuff like that, right? We're going to start seeing this new on-chain economy. It's all going to be at your fingertips, at your laptop, in your phone. This is going to be a very important inflection point, in my opinion, on where creator-led content is going to go. Tom Lee, if you're listening to this, I don't need 200 million, but we would love to get an infusion to help continue this education we've been doing for the past 5 years to make people aware about digital assets, decentralized finance, and blockchain investing. Let me know if you want to have a talk.
He'll say call me when you have 500 million subscribers.
Yeah, he probably will. So, to everybody watching the show, please tell your friends to like and subscribe. We would gladly like to be in an audience with Tom Lee, just because I think we're very aligned on a lot of things, and we believe that the next million people are out there to use these services, and they need to. You don't need to sit there and rely on old French people who don't know how the system works to tell you what you should be doing with your money. It's all about self-custody. This is your financial journey. You can take it by the horns and find true financial freedom. All right, let's move on.
The DeFi.
Go ahead.
You could lead the DeFi wing of Beast Industries.
So yeah, that's what I talk to my kids about, actually. They're like, oh my God, that'd be so cool if you worked with Mr. Beast. Watch him lock me in a vault. That's what'll happen.
He's like, play DeFi in this underground cellar for 80 days.
For $350,000. If you stay in that vault, I can definitely see it. That would be. I'll be honest. I'll be down. It's for my kids, man. My kids would love to see me on Mr. Beast content. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. So, Coinbase just didn't want to stop at just cooking the world. Now they want to bring half the world on chain. All right. This was not how I thought Monday was going to go. Honestly, I thought there was just going to be all kinds of craziness going on with everything that's going on with tariffs and the EU and the US, and who's going to have the first NFT of Greenland and stuff like that. That's an idea, Greenlanders. Create an NFT. There we go. You guys get that one for free. Fractional ownership of Greenland. Let's do it. 2 ETH, and
You
a
can wait
part
for
of
that
Greenland can
Greenland
be yours.
and then PFP.
And they could go with Pudgy Penguins as a collab because it's cold and snowy there. That's a terrible thing for me to say. But yeah, I mean, could you say I could see it? Could you imagine a theme park for Pudgy Penguins up in Greenland? The volume that would do, my friend.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. And it's all denominated in Trump token.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably it would be USD1, right? Because that's their stable coin. Because
Yeah, that's right.
you got to get it right.
Yeah.
With markets on Dolomite, shout out to Zach and Chase at Dolomite. For bringing their markets on chain for World Liberty Financial. Anyway, yeah. So this is ironic because Bermuda, if I'm not mistaken, is still part of the British Commonwealth. And last I checked, the UK doesn't like crypto. They don't like anything dealing with crypto. They continuously try to kick crypto in the face, and make it quite difficult. Anyway, thanks to the block for this. They're working to bring the economy on chain. So USDC, because Circle is involved with this, there's going to be USDC based payment rails based for the transactional layer. My guess is they're working out how to make this work well, to make it very frictionless with regards to how merchants and how Bermudan residents can figure out a way to get digital payments working. And actually, they talked about entrepreneurs. It's also a very expensive way to have a business in Bermuda. So, I mean, this is an experiment, but I think this could be really good for smaller economies. I think Bhutan should be next, by the way, if you're hearing me base. That being the happiest country on Earth, based on studies. They also own a butt ton of Bitcoin because of their Bitcoin mining adventures up there in the mountains outside of that area. And so, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on this, Robert? Does this, as someone who's bankless, does this make you excited to see that national countries are coming on chain with payment and transaction rails? This is a non-exclusive deal, so they can work with other companies to bring other parts of their system online. Like how Argentina and Buenos Aires has digital citizenship. Maybe another company could come in to help them do that, like ZK Sync.
Yeah, I think it's just like these kind of little experiments. I mean, I think inevitably, all this stuff's going to go on chain even for the bigger players. But I mean, kind of similar to El Salvador had was different. It's a different type of initiative, basically.
Yeah.
But I would say these are kind of just like little experiments in places where you can experiment. Like in these regions where you can kind of use this as like a pilot test kind of thing. So.
Yeah, and in places like Switzerland, you can pay for municipal taxes for services in Bitcoin. But this is better, in my opinion, because we're talking about stable coins. We're talking about having easy swaps between local fiat currency and a stable coin, which is a digital asset whose value is pegged to a specific value. And in general, it's normally a local fiat currency. I know they use pounds in Bermuda since they're a British Commonwealth, probably. But this allows, what we like about stablecoins is that they're anti-fragile and censorship resistant, right? So if you want to hold your funds in a stablecoin and you not worry about inflation, that's something that you can do. In a related note, that I find interesting, starting on March 1st, the venerable home of the steak burger. I personally like the Spaghetti 5-Way. Steak and Shake. Is it Spaghetti 5-Way? Anyway. We're going to give all hourly employees at his company-operated restaurants a Bitcoin bonus of 21 cents for every hour worked. This is thanks to a partnership with Fold. And what's interesting about this is that there's a 2-year cliff, which let's be honest, that's probably a good thing at this point. Uh, but there's a lot of things to take away from this that I think are very interesting about incorporating DeFi into your enterprise. So yeah, I think this is pretty good. Now I do hope that if you're a manager, you will receive a little bit more than 21 cents an hour. Um, oh, hourly employees. Salary employees, maybe they get something a little bit better. Who knows? But for hourly employees, this is pretty interesting. So, Robert, I want to get your quick thoughts, and then we'll continue the conversation on it.
Yeah, it's a really small amount, but I mean, I guess it's a good way of kind of just kind of getting some people into the Bitcoin world.
Well, I mean, if
Um,
Bitcoin goes to $1 million, like some people keep talking about, whatever the number is going to
yeah,
be, I mean that this is a huge investment in their employees if that's the case.
yeah. So let's say the average hourly employee works like 1,500 hours. That's like like at least a few $100s in Bitcoin per year, right?
Yeah,
So, um, and then if that does a 10x, that's a few $1,000s a few years from now. You
yeah,
know,
it's not bad.
um, yeah, it's not bad. I mean, I guess but I mean, it's just good exposure, more than anything, I would say. I mean, especially if it leads to people like thinking, okay, well, how can I earn more in DeFi, for example? Like if they realize how low 21 cents an hour is, and then they could be like, oh, I could actually put a decent portion of my paycheck into Aave and earn 4 or 5%. Like it gives people like exposure to that it's just like a sort of a entry point, like into crypto and DeFi potentially, hopefully.
Well, I want to know if you're out there, are you gonna does this compel you to work at Steak and Shake? With the idea that this is going to be the differentiator. Um, I'm looking at you, Chick-fil-A. I'm looking at you, In and Out, to consider a Bitcoin bonus for your employees, for taking care of them. And I don't mind the 2-year vesting period. It's probably better for them overall. Well, yeah, it's probably better for them overall that they don't have access to it right away. Regardless, it's a very unique thing. It opens up a lot of conversation about how this works. Because one thing, and this is from I went to a side event in Bitcoin Las Vegas last May, where I'm probably going to be at this year if anybody else is going. And it talked about Hollywood entities being able to pay their employees, actors, anyone that's a part of that's available in crypto. And what's really interesting about this part, actually, Robert, is that the idea is that, and this is something that has been going on for years, especially if you work with, groups like Codex, which used to be called, Justin Bieber's crew. Um, they stream their payroll out via smart contracts. So you can actually literally earn all of this through smart contracts. It's all pre-programmed. It's going into a wallet, and it just every minute, every block, if you want, you get a little by little of your salary just appearing there. And I think that's a really bullish thing to see, that you don't have to wait for your deposit to clear, clearinghouse type of stuff, which is the NYSE thing too, is also a big part of that. Uh, Bringing everything into the modern world. So I'm interested to see how this works out, because I think it's really cool. If we can get more businesses on par, or not par, but on board with companies that will provide stuff like this, to say, hey, we can stream your payroll out, daily to your employees' wallets. They just have to go digitally pick up their wallets, which probably is fine, because they'll probably want to, use a service to then withdraw it to their bank account anyway. Yeah, when I saw this, I'm just like, all kinds of things were just blowing up in my head. So I'm curious to see exactly where this goes.
Yeah, or if they start using like a Coinbase card, for example, like I've been doing.
Yeah,
You just bypass banks entirely. If if different companies buy into this.
Yeah, well, I don't know how likely that's going to be honest. I know that people want it.
Mm.
I know that people want to do it. I know that people want to be able to have that, to be bankless, to be a nomad, and just take your money everywhere. And again, I'm jumping all over the. I'm jumping over the. Maybe I don't have it. Oh, it's right here. ZK Sync. Flowers for ZK Sync. They're not stopping. They're continuing to work, even after what they did. With the powering of the digital citizenship stuff with Argentina and Buenos Aires. They now have created Pravidium, and they trademarked it. That's it's probably Prividium actually, because it's meant to be privacy, and I'm guessing Validium. So that would be Prividium is probably the better way to talk about it. So this is interesting for two reasons. One, the idea of it being Validium, meaning that it is in step with the Ethereum virtual machine. So as long as it's code's compatible with Ethereum EVM as it stands, it can easily be ported into Pravidium because it should work there as well. So there's that extensibility covered, and then the privacy portion of this because of zero knowledge proofs, and that's a really interesting way to look at how to process transactions privately, which is a good thing. It will be more. Will this hurt most people? No, because ZKs they take more compute because that compute's done there in line. So you actually have to pay for that, and so transactions are a little bit more expensive on ZK chains. But if they can figure out a way to maybe subsidize that cost and make it very cheap for people, to work with this, that would be good. But this is meant for banks. So this is an institutional platform. And these are all things that banks want. These are all things that that organizations will want. Now, the only thing that's not that you're not going to get here specifically with ZK Sync, which is with a different privacy method, which is shielding transactions, but it probably could be plugged in at some point. Yeah, so I think this is really good, and I hope that it spawns a bunch of building to show people. And I'm looking at you, Ripple, because you don't have this. This is what the banks are going to want. So we'll see exactly what happens. What do you think?
Is this kind of like Canton is already doing?
Well, their system's different. The way that Canton blockchain works is actually quite different in terms of how things are settled, and yeah, it's beyond the scope of talking about today. I'd have to pull out a whole I'd have to pull out a whole slideshow on how Canton Network's mechanism is different than this. But yeah, it'll be good. I mean, both are good, but I think this is good because it involves zero knowledge proofs. Well, their brand of zero knowledge proofs, and there's a lot of brands that are already built on top of ZK Sync. Katana's one, Abstract Chain is another. So there's the tech that's underlying here is really just being repurposed with a few more controls for the enterprise, and I'm excited to see from a banking standpoint at least. Well, they've got some marketing to do, eh? They got some marketing to do. If they can get into Swift system, then I think it's pretty much done. But we'll see.
They're heading in the right direction.
No, that's exactly it. They're heading in the right direction. That's what I like to see. Well, let's speaking of blockchains, let's talk about Solana. Solana has partnered with Ondo. Not that Solana hasn't already gone TradFi. And for me, you and I, both being in this space for quite some time, Robert, I'll be honest, this is still surreal to me. Because for many years, Solana was a chain for speculation, for gambling, some DeFi, very little DeFi, but mostly NFTs and meme coin plays. The last 3 years, we'll call it, we've seen the number of DeFi protocols quadruple on Solana. This is good. This is very good because Solana, as I call it, is the people's blockchain, right? That's where it's super cheap to use. It's fast. It has the favor of groups like MasterCard and Visa. Neobanks are there. AI agents have gone over there because it's cheaper per transaction and just as fast. So now they're bringing, well, they had X stocks last year. Now Ondo is bringing all of their tokenized stock and ETF portfolio to Solana. We didn't talk about the where the New York Stock Exchange platform is going to live. My thought on that is because they're using Chainlink, it's going to be EVM based, and because of the Circle partnership, well, they're coming out with their own layer 1 called ARC sometime this half of the year. So I think it's going to live on ARC. Or, they could have their own chain, which I still don't think makes any sense. But my guess is it's going to be underpinned by ARC. So this is what you're getting on Solana with all of these features thanks to Ondo's integration. Leave it up to Jupiter to be the one to pin this, to underpin this. This is amazing building from Jupiter. Full disclosure, I am a long-time Jupe staker, huge fan of Jupiter, really bullish, really excited to see Kuala Lumpur event that's coming up for them, hopefully sometime this quarter. But yeah, the fact that you can do the mint and redeem during market hours. Oh, it's going to be during market hours. I mean, it's a start, right? It's a start. I wouldn't have thought that Solana would have all of this, honestly. Let's be honest. What do you think?
Yeah, I felt the same way about Solana, like in the first few years, that it was just not so decentralized. Fundamentally, it was just more of a gambling chain. But it does seem like they've made major strides in the past couple of years towards really tightening up their infrastructure and making it a more serious play for institutional integrations.
Yeah, and the best thing about Jupiter, they are just outside of Uniswap. They are building a supreme moat. I mean, they're even powering. Not only are they powering this, they're also powering Coinbase being able to list every Solana token in existence through Jupiter, using their system with RFQs and everything too. So Jupiter's shipping a fantastic product this year. Unbelievable acquisitions. The team there is just fantastic. And I'm really bullish on what they're going to be building, bringing all of this here and through their own moat, because they're building, the on-ramps. They have a wallet, Jupiter wallet. It's a good mobile wallet. You're going to have access to all this in the palm of your hand. So if you're looking to try it out, download their mobile app and you get access to it. And I'm always impressed with the speed of Jupiter swaps. They're just killing it. So I'm excited to see where this goes moving forward. Okay, a couple things. Since we're both OGs in this space, PancakeSwap has approved a supply reduction proposal, now to 400 million cake. Now, did they burn that cake? I don't know. But this is really just big news because for those who still use PancakeSwap, or at least didn't know PancakeSwap was still doing the thing, they still have fantastic volume. And because they specialize in liquidity provision, specifically concentrated liquidity provision, you want to go where people are trading, and they're still doing $1 billion in volume daily. So this is good news for cake holders. I remember a long time ago, my first course on DeFi education, our first farm that we went to was PancakeSwap. Into a cake pool, even then, back when cake was $14 a token.
I remember messing around with PancakeSwap back in like August of 2020, something like that.
No, they're one of the OGs. I mean, they were directly forked from Uniswap. They are absolutely one of the OGs in this space. Many a terrible shitcoin farm was birthed through a fork of PancakeSwap because they did open source the code. It's not just on BNB chain, by the way. If you didn't know, PancakeSwap is available, I think, on 12 to 15 blockchains now. They're available just about everywhere. If you want a pro alpha tip, use vfat.io and just click on PancakeSwap in the filter, and you can check on all of their LPs that are available, and they offer auto rebalancing and auto compounding. So there's your alpha tip for the day. I wanted to kind of throw this to you, Robert, because we need to find 5 friends and then people who don't mind my children and my cats, because the idea of having a penthouse for 8K for a year of rent, by the way, that's not per month, a year. There are founder houses in San Francisco that are like 40K a month for 6 founders. This is 8K for a year in Thailand at a penthouse. Look at that. It's amazing. You can deal with the heat. No, you just have to be okay with my kids.
Yeah, that's fine.
My kids are sweet. They're very well behaved, I will say. They're very sweet.
I mean, but I have there's nothing stopping me from doing that.
I know. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe we should. You know, there's all kinds of stuff going on around us. Don't have to worry about ice and snowstorms, that's for sure. Might have to worry about heat exhaustion, but you know, plenty of cheap food. And man, when I saw that, and I was just like, how many people do we know that we could fit in a penthouse along with my wife and kids? 8,000 for a year.
How many rooms?
It's a penthouse. I'm assuming there's at least 5. I mean, I'll sleep on the floor. I don't care.
But to awesome.
It's awesome, right? This is to lock in on AI and machine learning. I'm like, I mean, there's a lot of stuff we can do that we can work on, not just AI, in a space like that. So, you know, just throwing it out there because this is about education, bringing awareness. There are places, if you want to get started, you want to get some friends together who are way smarter than you, which is something I do well. That's why I have Robert here. Go out and build things together. That's what we need to do. Last 2 thoughts. Let's do it. Last 2 thoughts. This is a total load of crap, by the way. They tried to do this in the U.S. Thankfully, actually, no. I think they've revoked that through an EO. But this is not cool. I know many founders who love to go to Amsterdam to just live for a little bit, reset, get things going. But for them to tax unrealized Bitcoin gains after you tried to go after the dev for Tornado Cash and put him in prison for 5 years? No bueno.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, not going to do it. Not going to do it. All right, last thing. And again, thank you, Robert, for being here. More integration. This one is big because of the second and third order effects. DAZN. Did you know that? That's what it's called? I always thought it was like, is that some Asian thing? No, it's DAZN. DAZN. Don't come for me, DAZN. They've named Polymarket their exclusive prediction market partner, bringing real-time odds. Let's call it that. Real-time odds into DAZN's live sports broadcasts. I haven't tried to use Kalshi or Polymarket on my mobile device yet, but once they get that rolling, it's a wrap, guys. This is huge because this doesn't come after. This really just comes after DraftKings and all of these other big sports betting groups. Now, DAZN has glowed up to a really good outlet for really good sports content, whether it's through MMA and stuff like that, or other events around the world. So this is more of a global move than anything. But the fact that Polymarket now is the official for them, it's very good for Polymarket. So any thoughts on this? I don't bet on sports, but
Uh, I think this is potentially extremely dangerous for for corruption of athletes. Um,
what do you mean? We already have that problem.
yeah, but in this like kind of still pseudo unregulated way,
Yeah.
Imagine athletes placing bets on themselves on Polymarket.
Ooh, because it's decentralized and you don't know who they are. Actually, I take that back. I think in the U.S. you
Exactly.
have to exactly say who you are. But are they going to make that? Are they going to make that stuff available? I mean, people still bet. They just bet through other people, right? You have friends. You have
Yeah, I
people who
think
take
this is
care of
just
that.
like reducing the friction for all that stuff. So um, that's cool though. No, that's really cool. I think it's just
Progress.
like, yeah, it's making it more seamless and like frictionless than before, I would say.
Yeah. So that's really my whole point about this, guys. I still hear people. I was in a fantastic shout out to the unicorns, my fellow unicorns at Creator Fi. We had some people who came in. They're like, "Oh, I was told that crypto was a scam." How can you deny the legitimacy of everything adjacent? And we'll just call it digital assets and tokenization now. This is coming. This has been in the works for a couple of years. You don't spin up stuff like this overnight. Polymarket's a nearly 5-year-old project, guys. Kalshi's been in existence since 2018. We're in a situation where people like this are building the next thing, and it's all going to be on digital asset rails, guys. The way we used to do business, it's going away. This is all of the future. All of this is coming to you on chain. And I still have no idea what River is, but it keeps moving. It's all coming on chain. That's the point. Stable coins, tokenized securities, being able to do your business on chain, being able to live with your business on chain. Robert's been bankless since 2021, guys, and he lives life just fine. Hire this man, by the way.
What's that?
I said, hire this man, by the way. He's the best. Simply the best. But yeah, so there's all of this is coming to blockchains all around us. Blockchains we talk about all the time in our content. Not because we're trying to shill them, but because they're that big of a presence that we cannot deny not talking about them. So this is the future of finance, guys. This is the future of how we're doing business, the future of commerce, the future of payments, especially if you live in Bermuda. So yeah, very interested to see exactly how this all works out. And as we titled the name of the show, the DeFi invasion has begun. We're going to see more of this, especially in this first quarter, where there's just more and more people coming in online and wanting to show you the beauty of what's available. So, I will say that I do have a beginner book coming out, a beginner series, by the way, that I'm going to be releasing under my DeFi professor moniker. Not around Beacon DeFi, because that's really for people who are interested and want to learn more. For people who know nothing, who need to see that all of this is happening around them, and it does lead to better access for you. You don't have to be okay with your bank giving you nothing for taking your deposits and using them in other places, which is something that Brian Armstrong also was on Squawk Box for, I think, the other day. He's like, don't you know that banks actually take your deposits and earn interest on them? Like, and credit to Eric Trump. Eric Trump was on, I don't know, I think it's Fox Business this morning, saying that the reason why banks don't want to stay open, why they don't want to go 24/7, is they want to be able to have the weekend off to earn billions of dollars in interest off of money. He's not wrong. This is still about money. That's why the Clarity Act has had some pushback, because banks are looking for the ultimate protections against all of that money leaving for on-chain. So position yourself now, because it's all going to move on-chain. Figure out what that means. Happy to help you. Please reach out. That's it. Robert, let them know how they can find you, sir. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Fun as always. You can find me on X at Omega__84 and Telegram at Omega_84.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I did also want to bring up, if you want to join our free group, Total Value Locked, the namesake of this show, school.com/beacon. If you want to learn more about how to make your digital assets or crypto work better for you in the world of decentralized finance, join our free group. We got plenty of information there for you. Check out our Start Here post, which is right here. Get a message from myself and our CEO, Andrew, and you'll learn more. We do this show every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. We should be online to come on exactly at 1 next week, Robert. We have a couple of guests who are looking to come on. I'm going to be on a panel right before we go, all the way up to before we come online. So excited to do that. It'll be with the GM Farcaster crew of Nanish Prof and Adrian. If you are on Farcaster, big news, by the way, for Farcaster. They've been acquired by Nanar. So that is a Farcaster native entity that does, quite a bit of work in Farcaster, which is great to hear. There was rumors that possibly Coinbase was going to take them. They didn't happen. Nanar has instead, which I think is better for Farcaster overall. So yeah, excited about that. You know what? Let's talk about this last thing before we sign off, because I always want to make sure you guys understand the opportunities ahead of you. I don't know if you know about this one. So they killed InfoFi last week, and they pretty much killed the whole reply guy movement last week as well. And we didn't really cover it today because with everything we were talking about with integration, I don't know if it was necessarily the right alignment, but the movement now for content on Twitter or on X is to articles to try and limit the amount of AI slop. So why go with the long form, right? Because that's not going to be AI generated at all. Mm-hmm. But they're giving $1 million to the top article posted on X. You have 2 weeks. January 30th, I think, is the date. So if you want your shot at $1 million, check it out on X. Are you gonna write an article, Robert?
I could try. Yeah.
I know you could try, right? Got a 1 in a million shot. There you go. So yeah, that's the show. Again, we're here every week at 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you next week for the next show. We do have a free training we do every Friday. I didn't do it last week. We'll do it this week. It's called Beat the Banks, by the way, where I talk about everyday common things that can help you be your own bank in this world of decentralized finance. Embrace the future of everything we talked about today, guys. And in the comments, I will have more. I'll have more stuff on my Twitter, x.com/csoriano, if you want to follow me. And that's where that will be. It won't be through Total Value Locked. So, but we'll be here next week, 1 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget about this Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Of course, sponsored by Beacon DeFi for Beat the Banks, our long-running beginner series, or Curious Crypto and DeFi Curious series. We've been running since January 2022. Talk about different things you can do in DeFi every week. Show you how accessible and affordable it is. You can come in here with $5, guys, and get started building your wealth in self-custody, where you truly have the freedom to do whatever you like. So, with that said, thanks again, Robert, for being here. We'll see you next week, as we say on this show. Beacons up, banks down. Shout out to Midnight for the hat. So fire. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. See you next time.